Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Happy New Year, guys. We are officially in 2021. Thank God. Today I'm going to be doing my top movies of 2020, and instead of the typical top 10 that I've done in the past, it's only going to be a top 5. Just because, you guys know, we just didn't really get as many movies as, I thought we were going to last year. And so I felt like if I was going to be doing a top 10, I really would have been stretching it. So I narrowed it down to a top 5. And, just to preface this video as well, some of the smaller independent films, stuff like that, I didn't get a chance to catch all of them just because of access or whatever. I just didn't get a chance to see them. So there might be some movies on here that you guys might think that deserve to be in the top 5, top 10 or whatever, and they didn't make it on my list. It might be just because I didn't get a chance to see them. So if you guys if there's something missing, definitely let me know, and that way I can check it out if I haven't seen it already. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start off with number 5. So number 5 is actually a movie that I just recently saw, and it's called The Vast of Night, and it's directed by first-time director Andrew Patterson, and it's a small-budget film that takes place in New Mexico in the 1950s, where we have a radio DJ and a switchboard operator, and they end up discovering this strange signal that's coming through their system and realize there might be something watching them over this town. So this film was it's a small budget movie, and I just totally missed it, and it came out several months ago. So I had seen some other people that I watched their favorite movies of the year, and I was like, I actually didn't get a chance to see this, and it was something, watching the trailer, I was like, this looks like something that would be right up my alley. So I checked it out, and it's I couldn't believe it's the guy's it's his first directorial debut, which is pretty cool. So it's definitely a smaller budget film. So when you're going into it, just know that. Don't expect some big crazy alien invasion movie or anything like that. So one of the things that I really liked about this movie is that it was a tribute to those old sci-fi radio shows where they would be talking about aliens and things beyond and stuff like that. And just right from the beginning of this movie, it's actually cool because it zooms in to a black and white TV screen, and then we end up going into this gymnasium, but it opens up with the title card and the Vast of Night, and that was just a really nice touch. And there's little things throughout the film that they do like that. At one point, they're interviewing some people about this these strange sounds and signal that they've heard, and at one point they're talking to this guy through the radio, and the picture completely it fades out to black, so then you're just listening to this guy tell his story, which is pretty creepy. And that was just those little touches was something that really put this movie over the top for me. I think if you guys like things like X-Files, The Outer Limits, and stuff like that, I think you're definitely going to dig this film if you haven't seen it already, and that's why it made my number 5. At number 4, we have The Invisible Man. So it was crazy to think when I was going through my top movies of the year, and I was like, yeah, what's going to make my list? And I was like, oh yeah, The Invisible Man came out in the beginning of the year. It's just weird. I feel like at the end of the year where you're thinking back, and especially movies that came out right in the beginning of the year, you're like, oh yeah, that was in 2020. And this was actually one of the last movies that I actually got to see in theaters. There was a couple others, but it was definitely towards the end of before everything kind of shut down for a while. And, with this film, I just think that Leigh Whannell, he did a great job of taking the story and the character of the Invisible Man and just bringing that, to the present. And we get an excellent performance by Elisabeth Moss. She's trying to escape this really toxic relationship, and she's being stalked by her ex, but no one believes her because everyone thinks he's dead, and he's found a way to make himself invisible with this, this crazy technology. And it's just a really good fast-paced thriller with elements of horror thrown in there. And it was just, I remember, seeing it in the theater with my fiance, and it was just edge of your seat, stuff right there, and just great performances all around. So that's why it made my number 4. At number 3, we have The Call. This is a Korean film directed by Chung Young Lee, and this is probably one of my biggest surprises of the year, just because it was something that I literally had no idea about. Hadn't seen a trailer or anything like that. I actually had one of my friends, in my review, I said that one of my friends recommended this to me, and it was on Netflix, and I believe it's still on there now. But basically, you have these two women they end up, connecting over a phone call. There's one in the past and one in the present. And basically, at this phone call, a series of events unfolds after this, and it just throws them into this battle that's going to end up affecting both of these characters' futures in a major way. And I don't want to go into any spoilers in case you guys haven't heard of it, but I just thought both of the performances from these actresses were fantastic. Just the way, the cinematography and the way everything looked and stuff like that. It was just such a fun ride. The soundtrack was amazing too. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check out The Call yet, definitely go ahead and check that out on Netflix right now. At number 2, we have Host. This was directed by Rob Savage. And one of the cool things, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I actually got a chance to interview the ladies of Host. So I'll make sure to put that at the end of this video as well as an annotation right here. But I got a chance to talk to them. And basically the idea of this film, it's filmed, it takes completely on Zoom. And then it was filmed during the pandemic and everything. So that was a really cool idea. I remember when I first seen the trailer, it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this to come out, because I'm not a huge found footage-ish type of looking movies. And there was a movie a couple years ago, came out Unfriended, that I didn't end up seeing. I heard some people like it, but for the most part, I heard kind of mixed things about it. So I've just never really been a huge fan of those types of movies. But then I started hearing some early reviews about this, and I was like, okay, I've heard nothing but great things. Let me go ahead and give this a watch. I would say this was probably the scariest movie of the year for me. It's about 55, 56 minutes, so it's pretty short, so it gets right into things. And basically you have these group of friends who, they're on Zoom and they decide to have a seance, and basically shit hits the fans, and stuff gets crazy from there. And I just remember watching this movie, especially the first time, because I have seen it multiple times. And the first time watching it, I was up, by myself, and it was dark and everything. And you could tell I was really invested in this film and these characters, because there were several times that I actually jumped. And there was at least 1 or 2 times where I verbally yelled at the TV, holy fucking shit. So if you can do that with a horror film, that's pretty impressive. I don't scare really too easily, because I've seen so many different, horror films. So where you can get a reaction like that out of me, you're definitely going to make, my top 10, or in this case, top 5 movies of the year list. So if you guys, for some reason, if you haven't checked out Host yet, I highly suggest you do. When I saw it, it was on Shudder, but I believe you can check it out, pretty much mostly any places that does streaming now, Amazon, different things. It's still, on Shudder and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And finally, guys, for my number 1 favorite film of the year, we have Wolfwalkers. So Wolfwalkers was directed by Tom Moore and Ross Stewart. I just absolutely love this film. I thought that the animation was amazing, and you really get invested in the friendship between Robin, the townie, and then Meth, the Wolfwalker. And then you also have the town versus this pack of wolves. And just the animation, like I said, was absolutely amazing. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the film. Just the way it was stylized, and afterwards reading the art of book and stuff like that. It was cool to go back and look, because they made references to how the town is all straight lines and everything like that, because it represents kind of almost like a cage. And then when you go out into the woods, the lines are kind of all over the place, squiggly, because you have that freedom out there. So it's just those little things. Went back and watched it again, and I was like, oh yeah, I picked up on those. And what I mentioned in my review for this as well, one of my favorite aspects during the film is when Robin, you get to see the wolf's perspective of what it is to hear, smell, and all those different things. And that was just that was such an awesome scene. I remember seeing that in theaters, and I actually got goosebumps watching it. I was like, that was really cool. And I got to see, that was one of the last movies that I got to see in theaters towards the end of the year when stuff opened back up, and I was really glad I got to. I did end up watching it on Apple TV, because I believe it's on there now. I really hope it comes out on Blu-ray, because I had such a good time with this movie. Cartoon Saloon, they're really on a roll right now, and this is just another one for them. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I highly suggest you do. I think you'll have a lot of fun, and that's the reason why it made my number 1. So yeah, guys, like I said, that is my top 5 favorite movies of the year. I know it's, everyone's list is definitely going to be different. So I'm curious to see, what are your guys' top favorite movies? Definitely let me know. Or if you have a top 10, let me know down below. Like I said, there's some that I think I've missed. And I just, I didn't want to go too much farther into the new year before doing my favorite films of 2020. So let me know. And then that way, if I haven't seen them, I can check them out because I'm always looking for new stuff. So definitely let me know down below in the comments. I'm going to be, I'm going to be doing a couple like new videos coming up for you guys. I'm going to be doing like, my most anticipated films of 2021, which is funny because some of them are probably going to be very similar to what originally was my most anticipated movies of 2020. There'll be like some differences, but I mean, some of those movies got pushed back. So it might be fairly similar, but I'll have that I'll have that video out for you guys shortly. I also got another video that I'm going to be doing, just talking about hitting 500 subscribers because, that happened recently, and thank you guys so much, but I'm going to do a separate video for that. So definitely keep an eye out for those. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it, just so that way you get notifications for all my new videos. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.